Hello YouTube, we're back again. It's a day before my 55th birthday, which at 55, the way I understand it is that I get discounts at Long John Silver's if there's any of those restaurants left. It's a benefit of being old, I guess, a senior discount. My wife's pretty excited about it, me not so much. But I thought I'd make a different type of YouTube video today. Just reflecting back on my career, you know, I watched some guys that cover the corrections videos, what to expect from as a new officer, what to do, not to do, how to get into shape, how to pass the test, yada, 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 all that stuff. So I was reflecting back and I got reminded of a story and it just makes me chuckle, it makes me laugh. But I don't know why it popped up in my head. But I hired in 1996, in May 13th, 1996. So I've been there 2-3 years. It was either 98 or 99 that this incident happened. But I was working A-house, A-dorm is what we called it. It was a non-smoking. This was back when inmates and staff did have tobacco products. We sold tobacco products on commissary, so they could chew tobacco, they could roll cigarettes. I mean, most housing units other than A-dorm is pretty damn nasty. We'll get into that maybe at a later date. But anyway, on to this story. So I've been there 2-3 years, working A-house, and I remember at the beginning of the summer, there was a program that they would start, and this happened every year, but when the guys would go out to yard, an evening yard, they'd get a benefit that they could sign up and they could go fishing, because at this prison that I worked at, beautiful place, there's ponds. So right by the yard is fenced in, it's over by the road, and then right to the, I think it was the west, it's irrelevant. On one side of the yard is a couple of ponds. Well, the inmates could sign up and they could go fishing. They'd send a kite request slip into LTA, leisure time activities, and then they'd get on the list and they could go fishing. Well, a lot of these guys from Chicago, from the bigger cities, never been fishing in their life. Hell, we had cows, we had bulls, we had steers. A lot of these guys never even seen one of those live and in person, only seen it on TV. By this one particular inmate, little skinny guy from Chicago we called Roach. Roach was not very intelligent, but he was a likable kid. He was one of my dorm helps. He always cleaned up front for me because I was on 311 shifts. So in the evening time, lights out time, things like that, count time, he'd clean up the front, clean up my bathroom, because the way the housing units were set up, you had the sally port up front, the gate to let everybody in, and you had this open space, and you had the officer's desk. You had the clothing room with a washer and dryer. And then back then you had 2 phones and you had a damn ping pong table up there. You talk about driving you nuts as an officer listening to that shit all night long. But then beyond that, there's 2 gates that open up, and that's where the inmates slept. It was a dorm environment. You had approximately 100 inmates. And then in the back of that particular dorm, you had the bathrooms and the showers. But you had aisles on both sides, so you could just step to either side and see it as an officer. Well, anyway, back to Roach. Like I said, Roach wasn't the most intelligent fella in the world, but a likable kid. Always worked his ass off for me, man. Always really appreciated that. Hell, we'd have food or something in the officer's chow hall. There's extra. I tried to grab him a little bit of extra food because the kid didn't have dick for money. Nobody was sending him any money in. He was washing bowls to make extra money. In other words, other inmates would make a dip, get their shit dirty, their bowls dirty, their forks, their sporks, whatever you call it, dirty, and Roach would go ahead and wash them, and they'd pay him. They'd get him a box of noodles or whatever it may be, whatever the deal was at the time. So anyway, Roach had never been fishing. He's always driving on me, man, Chico, you gotta get me on this fishing list so I can go fishing. I've never been fishing. I've always wanted to go fishing. I want to catch fish. But at that time, I'd only been there a couple, 2-3 years, so I didn't have any juice. Nobody was going to listen to me. I couldn't call the LTA person, which is typically a person with a lot of time in and a politically appointed position. Yes, it's a way you get that gig, but again, more into that later. But I tried to go to the people and say, hey man, this kid really wants to go fishing, because it was a lot of the old timers and people getting to go consecutively more than one time, which wasn't really fair, but hey, that's prison life. That's the way it works. People's favorite inmates that had some juice, had some pull, were getting able to go. Well, finally, through the spring, through the summer, we get into the fall, getting ready to shut down yard, and it's the last night of fishing, and Roach made the list. So Roach is jacked up, man. He's all excited. Hey, Chico, can I go out to yard? Because his dorm help, you know, you got to check with your officer to make sure, hey, I got nothing for him to do. Well, obviously, I'm going to let the kid go. He's been driving on me about this shit forever. So they roll out. They're out there about an hour and a half or so, and here comes my yard line coming back, so I come out on the steps to shake them down before they enter the housing unit. I see Roach separated from the line about 30 yards back. The old sergeant talking to him, sergeant smoking a cigarette, just kind of patting old Roach on the shoulder, and Roach got his head down, kind of just kicking rocks like, man, it's like he just lost his dog or something. So sergeant kind of spins off, waves to me, he's like, all right. So Roach comes up there, he's the only one standing out there. I shake him down. I say, Roach, man, what's going on? You all right? He just shook his head, and man, he looked like he was ready to just burst out crying. All right, I'm gonna let him roll, I'm not gonna drive on him. Then go do this thing. He'll talk to me later, I'm sure. So we go through the night. A couple hours go by and it's lights out time. Yell dorm help. Get the guys, get the teeth brushed, get ready for bed, and all that happy stuff. Roach kept front sweeping, and he just, man, he looks down. Never seen this kid this down before. Typically a happy-go-lucky kid, man, just rolling with life and the cards that's been dealt to him and taking responsibility for what he's done. Fine, Roach, what is going on, man? You got to tell me what's going on here. Well, apparently, Roach had casted his line, had a couple bites, missed it, and officers out there watching these guys typically are going to help them out if they've never fished before, man. It's just the way it was. It's kind of neat seeing guys do things for the first time. Well, Roach had turned his back just for a second. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but a fish took his line and pulled his whole damn pole in the water. Roach comes, the officer said Roach comes scrambling in, got to the water, looked like he wanted to jump in and go after the pole, but they're like, hey, no, ain't no swimming. Gotta let that go. But I don't know why that story come up to me. But the thing about it is, Roach took responsibility for that fishing pole when he went fishing. So Roach, who had nothing for money, had no family sending him money in, had to pay for that fishing pole. Had to take it out of his state pay, which back then his dorm help might have been $5 to $7 a month, maybe. I don't know. Some of my corrections peeps that I worked for maybe correct me on that and tell me what it was at that time, because my memory isn't too good on that. So that's the story of Roach. Lost the fishing pole first time he went fishing. Fish grabs it, takes the line, and takes the whole damn pole in. So Roach, why didn't you jump in and try to get it? He says, Chico, I've not only never been fishing, I've never been swimming. I can't swim. So well, that's probably a pretty good idea that you didn't do it. You know, better be safe than sorry. Although the officers there, I guarantee you would have saved him, man. Vandalia, where I worked at, it's a pretty damn good place to work, surrounded by good people, regardless of a lot of the rumors and innuendos and labels that place gets. It was an amazing place back in the 90s, early 2000s, not only for staff. There's a lot of opportunities for inmates, whether it be woodworking, auto body, building, mechanics, building trades, you name it. There was all types of opportunities to get different degrees and certificates that could help you when you got out. But anyway, that's a story of Roach. So, Roach, if you're out there, man, you ever see this, I sincerely hope that you got to go fishing one day and that you actually did catch a fish. Chico out.